It was a normal day in a bustling city. People were walking, talking, living their lives, when suddenly, the ground began to shake violently. Screams filled the streets. Chaos erupted as cars and buses sank into massive cracks. Dust and debris flew everywhere. Panic spread like wildfire. Airplanes in the sky lost control as a shockwave hit. Engines faltered, spiraling downward toward the city below. People on rooftops pointed and screamed in terror. Clouds of dust and smoke filled the air. It was a scene of utter devastation. Inside a busy shopping mall, the ground trembled violently. Walls cracked and windows exploded outward. Terrified people ran for their lives, dodging falling debris. Bags, furniture, and glass scattered everywhere. Every second felt like an eternity. In suburban neighborhoods, houses collapsed one by one. Roofs slid off, and cars tilted into deep fissures. People carried children while running desperately through falling debris and snapping trees. The earth heaved beneath their feet as chaos reigned. On a highway during daylight, multiple buses plunged into massive cracks, while cars slid uncontrollably toward gaping holes. People jumped out and ran for safety, dust clouds rising around them. The camera captured every moment of cinematic terror. Downtown skyscrapers shook violently, windows shattering everywhere. Fire sparks flew from electrical lines. Terrified pedestrians scrambled through falling debris. Cinematic side pans in slow motion captured the intensity of the disaster. The Mississippi River defied logic, surging backward violently. Boats capsized, and people screamed from riverbanks as a bridge collapsed into the churning waters. Chaos extended far beyond the streets into the natural landscape. Subway tunnels collapsed underground, water and debris flooding in. Terrified commuters ran up staircases as lights flickered and alarms blared. Every step was a fight for survival in the panicked crowd. At the airport terminal, travelers were thrown from their seats, luggage flying through the air. Glass shattered as ceiling panels collapsed. Emergency alarms flashed wildly, and people scrambled to safety in absolute terror. In forested areas, trees snapped like matchsticks under the violent quake. Animals fled, and hikers ran desperately along shaking ground. Dust and smoke rose from the forest floor, creating an apocalyptic cinematic scene. Helicopters captured aerial views of citywide destruction. Smoke plumes rose from streets, cars burned, and people ran in all directions. Chaos stretched as far as the eye could see, a true disaster movie panorama. Night highways were unrecognizable. Overturned buses and trapped cars scattered in massive fissures. Terrified people climbed out and ran to safety as rain and dust mixed in cinematic slow-motion chaos. Their planes crashed into rivers, water splashing violently, fire erupting as debris scattered. Passengers ran from wreckage in desperation, the camera capturing every horrifying yet cinematic moment. Downtown bridges collapsed into raging rivers, cars plunged into water, and people ran along the edges to escape. Water splashed over streets as dust and debris filled the air. Cinematic wide-angle realism at its peak. Rural churches collapsed mid-prayer, bell towers falling as terrified people screamed and ran. Dust clouds rose with every crash. Close-up cinematic shots highlighting raw human emotion amidst the disaster. City market streets were destroyed as stalls collapsed, produce and goods flying through the air. Shoppers ran screaming. Cinematic side pans capturing the horror. Fire sparks adding intensity to the chaos. Trains derailed violently as the ground split beneath them. Passengers leaping to safety as smoke and sparks erupted. Slow-motion cinematic shots highlighted the terrifying power of nature's fury. School buildings shook violently, windows exploding as students ran for their lives, guided by frantic teachers. Debris fell around them, while handheld cinematic camera captured the emotional panic of children and adults alike. Airport runways split apart, airplanes sliding into massive fissures, ground smoke rising as emergency vehicles rushed toward the chaos. Cinematic epic framing captured the scale of destruction and human fear. Finally, a wide cityscape shot revealed total panic. Streets cracked open, rivers surging, airplanes falling, cars and buses sinking, people screaming and running. A slow cinematic zoom out revealed the epic climax of utter devastation. Full HD realism.